Why are you acting so high and mighty over a mere $300?
We don't need your chump change.
Laughing, my son and daughter-in-law looked down on me, hurling hurtful words. I've supported them for 10 years, knowing they were struggling. Seeing the two of them never settling into steady jobs, I always held back my complaints, wondering how I could help. And this is the things I get? Why did I ever think of helping them? I believe that one day they'd appreciate my efforts and change their attitudes, but that day never came. Isn't that answer enough? They've taken 10 years of my time and drained my hard-earned savings. Yet they scoff at my assistance, saying it's not enough and just spare change. I've given everything for my son and his wife without saying a word for 10 years. But that ends today. My name is Susanna, a woman in her 50s. My husband passed away, and now I live alone. We have one son, David. He moved out after college, married a woman, and started his family. Their home is close to mine, but truth be told, we don't get along. Son and daughter-in-law was what you would call a reason. David married Anissa, a co-worker from his first job after college. Anissa left the job when they got married, but less than a year later, David quit his job. Apparently, he got into trouble with his boss. David thought he could quickly find another job, but things didn't go as planned. He struggled to find a suitable position and eventually gave up on working altogether. Anissa showed no signs of wanting to work either, and they quickly fell into financial hardships. To help, I started giving them $300 a month. They were grateful at first, and I hoped they'd eventually stand on their own. But 10 years later, my monthly support seemed like a given to them, not a gift. One month, when I was busy with family events and couldn't meet them for the usual handoff, they came knocking late at night.
Mom, you have to give us our money. Are you forgetting things in your old age?
Every time David teased me, my exhaustion from consecutive days would overwhelm me. I'll give you the allowance another time. Can you please leave for today? But Anissa, with her face burning with anger, shouted,
This happens every month. Just because you're my mom-in-law doesn't mean you can treat me this way?
And grabbed me by the collar. Suddenly wide awake from the shock, I handed over the already prepared $300 to my son and daughter-in-law that day.
You should have given it to us straightforwardly from the beginning. I don't want to raise my hand against my mom-in-law,
she said.
That's right.
David chimed in.
Please listen to what we have to say. If Mom gets dementia in the future, we're the ones who will be taking care of her. Wouldn't it be smart to be in our good graces now?
Their audacity infuriated me, but if I retaliated and displayed a domineering attitude now, I might injure their pride. I didn't want them ending up like David when he had left his job, possibly never regaining their footing in life. With that thought in mind, I swallowed my frustration, smiled, and simply said, I'm sorry, accepting their words. I retrospect, I think I had a wrong approach from that time onward. However, my overwhelming desire for them to somehow get their act together prevented me from seeing things clearly. But that wasn't the only unpleasant memory with them. One day at work, I got a call from a neighbor who has always been kind to us.
Susanna, can I talk to you for a moment? It's about your son and daughter-in-law.
Oh my, I'm so sorry. I'll be right over. Apparently, when the neighbor returned from shopping, there were signs of a break-in. And after checking the security camera footage, the culprits turned out to be my son and daughter-in-law. Though the room was a mess, fortunately nothing was stolen. The neighbor, knowing our situation, chose to contact me first instead of the authorities. I left work early, got in touch with David and Anissa, and the three of us went to apologize. I am deeply sorry, I kept repeating, while David and Anissa showed no signs of remorse. Although our neighbor was visibly upset, after agreeing to cover the cost of the broken window, the matter was settled. But on our way home, David and Anissa made a shocking statement.
Why are you old folks so narrow-minded? We just wanted to borrow a few things.
David scoffed. I let out an incredulous "What?" But without even glancing at me, Anissa added,
Exactly. What did we even do? We might have broken a window and ransacked the place, but we didn't steal anything. Isn't she overreacting?
To which David nodded.
Exactly.
I couldn't fathom their justification and stayed silent the entire time. I regretted not standing up to them and expressing how I felt. Could say it was my weakness that I couldn't do that. The episodes of David and Anissa's unchecked behavior continued to stand out. Thankfully, apart from the incident with the neighbor, they didn't trouble anyone else. I continued giving them their allowance, and whenever they pleaded for something, if it was within my budget, I'd buy it for them. David wanted toys and gadgets to fit in with his friends. Anissa craved branded items so she wouldn't feel inferior to others. Their demands escalated over time, and they began to rely on me for just about everything. It wasn't just about money anymore. On my days off, they'd call me over to do their household chores, working me tirelessly. We all need money to survive. They had neither the means nor the will to earn their own, so I had no choice but to support them. No matter how exhausted I was, I worked hard. Even when I was drained from work, I managed to do the household chores they asked of me. As a result, my health deteriorated. Dark circles formed under my eyes, my skin broke out, and I constantly felt dizzy. Seeing me like this, my son and daughter-in-law joke.
You look like a monster.
Anissa pointed at me and said,
You've given up on being a woman.
I was too drained to even respond to their cruel words. I knew I was reaching my limit. But I believed that if I didn't keep going, both they and I would be ruined. So I pushed through, doing my best to keep moving forward. Deep down, I wished I could lean on someone else. Admit I didn't want to push myself anymore. Then one day, while doing chores at their house, a minor incident led to a big argument. I was worn out and had no patience left, so every little thing they did irritated me. Anissa snapped.
All this fuss over just $300?
David, taking her cue, said,
I don't need such chump change.
and handed back the $300 I had just given him.
If you want to give us money, bring a better amount.
They laughed, looking down on me. That was the last straw for me. I get it. I'll stop then. Without thinking about the future or their well-being, the words just spilled out. They tilted their heads in confusion. But when I started packing to leave, they burst into laughter.
Mom, stop joking. Without us, you'd be all alone. You wouldn't survive without your precious son and daughter-in-law.
Mom-in-law, when did you become such a joker? If that joke wasn't funny, you had me worried for a second.
Thinking I wasn't serious about stopping the financial support, they continued to mock me.
Go ahead and try. But if you do, we'll cut ties with you. Let's see if you have the guts to live all alone.
Come on, our spineless mom-in-law can't do that, right? He'll want to take back what you said in no time.
Seeing their cruel behavior, I finally woke up. Why was I sending them money, buying them things, and doing their chores? What was in it for me? I was just being taken advantage of. They treated me like a housemaid, And even at my breaking point, they acted this way. They might be my family by law, but I couldn't recognize them as such with their behavior. Sorry, but I'm serious. Don't regret your words later. Even after I said that, they just laughed, thinking it was a joke.
Go ahead and try, but you'll regret it. I can already see it.
David's words ignited a fire within me. I was determined to make them pay. I would make them realize how valuable I was to them and how wrong they were to treat me so poorly. As I packed my things to leave, all I could think was how I'd make them suffer. First, I cut off all the financial support I had been providing to my son and daughter-in-law. No more money, no more financial aid, and no more household help. For someone who had lived for their sake, this act of not considering them at all was a first for me. I could finally rest without thinking about them. I could spend my money on myself and only do household chores to my satisfaction. I realized how liberating it was to live this way. They said I'd never be able to cut ties and live alone. But this life, free from others' control, was exactly what I had been longing for the past decade. I decided to take another step to corner them. The apartment they were living in was actually rented in my name after they lost their previous home due to financial troubles. Of course, I was the one paying the rent. If I was cutting off all support, it made no sense to continue paying the rent. So I contacted the apartment manager and decided to terminate the lease. The manager, aware of our situation, was understanding and agreed. In a month, they'd have to leave the apartment or the police would be notified. That night, I messaged them. If you don't leave the apartment within a month, it'll become a police matter. They read the message immediately, and within minutes, my phone rang.
Mom, what's going on? Where are we supposed to live?
David yelled. I could hear Anissa panicking in the background.
Did you forget I was the one paying the rent for that apartment? I told you I'm cutting off all support. So it's only natural I end up the lease too, right? We'd never agreed to that. We thought you were just stopping the monthly allowance, not everything else.
David's entitled response made me chuckle. After all the hurtful things they said, they still expected me to support them in other ways. Their audacity was dizzying. I had given them everything. My money, my time, all for their sake. All because I wanted them to have a self-sufficient life. But it was a mistake. The more I indulged them, the more they took advantage. In that case, I should have made my stance clear and made them listen to me from the start. I was the one who sent them money, provided financial support, and did their chores. No matter how you look at it, I held a higher ground compared to my son and daughter-in-law. They should have shown respect and gratitude. Yet they treated me like a mere housemaid, a tool, an ATM, and even had the audacity to mock me when I was at my lowest. Why did I try so hard for them? Even when they were unreasonable, I endured without speaking up. All they did was take advantage of my kindness. It took me reaching my breaking point to realize how selfish and ungrateful they were, and that they never truly saw me as a family. They may have even seen me as useful, but never as a family member. Why didn't I see this sooner? Why did I keep doing my best until I felt like I had reached my limit? Why did I keep giving and believing? My past actions now seem so pitiful. I believe they've someday become independent, but it was all for nothing. Regretting the past, my anger towards them surged. I needed to confront them, make them admit their wrongs, and apologize. Unless he admits his past sins and apologizes, he will not be satisfied. Feeling this way, I spoke up again. You thought I'd stop the allowance but continue other support? How naive can you be? David tried to interject.
But
I cut him off. No buts. Do you realize how much you've relied on me? You should be grateful. Instead, you've taken advantage of me. Why would I want to keep supporting you? Listen, your lives have always depended on me. If you upset me even once, and I felt like not helping you, that would have been the end for you. It's a good thing I was so naive. I kept hoping you'd someday stand on your own, that you wouldn't always need my help. I was such a kind-hearted mom.
yeah, Mom is kind. You don't really want to abandon us, right? You said things in the heat of the moment, and now you can take them back. We forgive you, Mom. Let's try to be a family again, okay?
Don't be ridiculous. I've opened my eyes. No matter how hard I tried to support you, you never wanted to be independent. You just wanted to live comfortably on my dime, right? David, sounding panic, replied.
That's not true. We did want to be independent, but it's hard. Neither of us feels motivated to find a job. We did our best, but it wasn't enough.
I almost laughed at his words.
Did your best? I've watched you two for years. You never tried to find jobs or live frugally. You just enjoyed carefree life on my dime.
Listen, Mom, we're truly grateful for everything you've done. We know we owe our lives to you. We need you. Let's start over.
What? Why would I need you? One's an unemployed man who's been jobless for a decade, and the other's fake housewife who only thinks of herself. Why would I want you in my life? Do you know how much I've sacrificed for you? I've worked every day to provide for you, even doing chores on my days off. I'm not foolish enough to want that life anymore.
Don't say that, Mom. We need you. Without someone like you to support us,
No matter how much I tell him, David doesn't listen to my opinion and tries to push his own opinion. Before I could reply, I heard,
Let me talk.
and Anisa took the phone.
Mom-in-law, I'm fed up with David's selfishness too. Men should work and support their families, but he just plays around. I regret marrying him every day. I'm a victim just like you. Please help me.
Anisa was trying to save herself at David's expense. When I was stunned by his attitude, Anisa continued speaking. She continued,
I'll do anything. Be your housemaid, whatever you want. Please don't abandon me.
After those words, I could hear son and daughter-in-law arguing again over the phone, fighting over who gets to speak. Suddenly, due to the loudness, or maybe they bumped into something, the call got disconnected. Days went by without another call from my son and daughter-in-law. It seemed their relationship deteriorated significantly after that incident, leading them to decide on a divorce and go their separate ways. They blamed each other, even demanding alimony, causing a lot of disputes before the divorce was finalized. After the divorce, both tried to reach out to me. However, by that time, I had already blocked their numbers, so I never heard their side of the story. David started working part-time at a factory, day and night, managing to make ends meet. On the other hand, Anisa, in tears, fled back to her former in-law's house. When she confessed everything to her former step-parents, they were furious. She was brought by her former step-parents to apologize, but she cried throughout, making it hard to understand her. Since then, I'd been living for myself. For 10 years, I was bound by the presence of son and daughter-in-law, never truly cherishing my own time. Living a life centered on myself felt incredibly refreshing and irresistibly appealing. Losing son and daughter-in-law left me all alone in the world, but I came to see that as a blessing. I don't know what the future holds. There might come a time when I can't live just for myself anymore, but for now, I've decided to live solely for my own